Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that.
Canada and the United States have built a remarkable partnership, but Canada doesn't live because of the United States. Canada thrives because we are Canadian.
Take that, Donald Trump. So that's Mark Carney from his speech earlier today, which you will hear most of coming up just after the 5:30 news. We're joined in studio by Raphaël Melançon. He, of course, is political analyst here at CJAD and at CTV as well, columnist for the Montreal Gazette. You heard the speech?
Yeah.
You saw a reaction from a couple of Quebecers, including, I talked about Paul St. Pierre Plamondon's reaction to this, which is, I thought, a little over the top, but that's just me. So, first of all, the idea of the speech today, which the Prime Minister made it seem like, all Canadians should listen. He was addressing Canadians. He did it at 1:45 in the afternoon on a Thursday.
Yeah.
And I couldn't help but thinking, in the U.S., when the president wants to go and talk to the nation, it's like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever. All three networks cover the event. What was this about today?
It was kind of an in-between between an address to the nation and at the same time a press conference, because there were media in the room. And he was not talking. I would tell you, my first reaction when I was watching the speech live was that he was not looking at the camera. Usually when you have the U.S. president addressing the nation, he's facing the camera and he's talking to you in the eyes as if he were in your living room talking to you specifically. That was not the approach that was chosen by Mark Carney's team, and I feel like it would have had more impact had Mark Carney spoken directly to the camera in the eyes of Canadians.
What do you think the point of this today was? I mean, the part of it was a history lesson, as it turns out as well. Why? Is this in reaction to Trump, in reaction to Davos? What was this about?
I think it was basically, I saw it as the second part of his speech in Davos two days ago. So basically, it was, to me, a defining week for Mark Carney, because what he did this week was to first define his vision of the world, the new world order since Donald Trump came back to office, and the fact that we have to acknowledge that the old world order that was established following World War II no longer exists. It's dead. It's kaput. So we have to move forward to a new world order. So that was what he said 2 days ago in Switzerland. And when he comes back to Canada, then he wants to define his vision for the country, for the future of Canada, and send a message, yes, to the Americans, saying, as we have heard in the clip there, he said something to me, one of the best takeaways from that speech was, we're going to give ourselves more than any other foreign government can take away from us. And it speaks volumes to me in terms of the intentions of this government to build a stronger Canada, to build a stronger economy, and to be, we talked a lot about elbows up, but I think the tone that Mark Carney is adopting here is one that is replying to Trump's speech. To his approach, basically. You don't negotiate with a bully. You're not a nice guy with a bully. You fight back with a bully. And that's what we hear so far from Mark Carney this week, both on the international stage and at home. And I think that he chose to do this at the Quebec City Citadel. It's a very symbolic monument. Sure. It's a fortress that was built, that was meant to defend the country against the potential invasion. So all of it's very symbolic. It's not necessarily a detailed action plan for Canada, but it lays out a vision for the future of the world on one part and the country on the other part. So to me, both speeches this week were linked together.
Did you happen to hear Howard Lutnick, who's the U.S. Commerce Secretary, and his reaction to Carney and the speech from the other day?
Tell me more.
Do we have the clip, Ryan? So you know who Howard Lutnick is. He's the commerce guy. He said a lot of, strange things, including, yelling at Doug Ford, calling him some guy in Ontario. Listen to this.
My view is that Canada has never expressed to the world that they have the best deal, the second best deal in the world. The best deal in the world is Mexico, because remember, they have USMCA, which means 85% of the Canadian economy comes into the United States for zero. And there he is complaining that he's going to go to China and improve it. What's he going to do? China's delighted to sell to him. But do you think China's going to open their economy to accept exports from Canada? This is the silliest thing I've ever seen.
So he apparently has no idea. This is the U.S. Commerce Secretary. that Canada does a considerable amount of business with China as far as exports are concerned. He made it seem like we're only buying with no clue that they're a big partner as far as exports go as well.
Well, the whole thing on the U.S. side right now is they don't seem like they're really getting how the economy works and how international trade works. I mean, when Trump talks about tariffs, he is not aware that it's going to hurt his economy more than others, because it's basically a tax imposed on imports. So people who import goods from countries that are affected by these tariffs, they're the ones who are paying these disguised taxes in the end. So it's I mean, and let's not forget, yes, we export a lot in the US, but in exchange for their money, the Americans get a lot of goods manufactured in Canada. They get a lot of natural resources that their own industries need to function that they don't have on their own territory. So they need also, Trump says oftentimes, we don't need Canada. I'm sorry, I was going to say something. Yeah. BS. I don't want to lose my job on this, but still, it's big BS to me. And they don't seem to get how the economy functions. Yes, we already do trade with China. And yes, China is interested in doing even more business with us, because it's also about extending their influence in our hemisphere, or what Trump calls his hemisphere. But it's also a geopolitical game that they are playing. And you know what? We don't go towards China on our own will because we want to. We go to China because we have no choice, no other options left because of the Americans specifically. So blame it on your government, blaming on your president if we have to go towards China and other potential partners.
Let me focus on what's happening in Quebec. We heard from Premier Legault today, setting a date and the rules for who's going to take over as far as the next will be premier in this province. What do you make of what you've heard so far?
Well, we're going to have a new premier. Finally, we know that by April the 12th, we will know who will be Quebec's next premier, at least for a short time until the next election. To me, it's an interesting three-way race that's being prepared right now on the CQ side, unless we have another candidate coming from the business sector or from the outside world of
politics.
Do
you see that? Have you heard anybody from the outside?
Not at all. Not at all. And the time that they have until the February the 21st to confirm their candidacy. So it's a very short frame to a very short period of time for them to make a decision and complete all the criteria that they have to fill to be confirmed as candidates. So I would see this right now. So we have Christine Fréchette, the Minister of the Economy, who will be running to me. We have Simon-Jolin Barrette, who will probably be running too. And then you have Bernard Drinville, who will also be on the starting blocks for this. Well, it seems like he's very interested, and he will be confirming in the next few days if he's going or not. But to me, these three could be the main contenders. And I would see a three-way race as being maybe potentially playing in favor of Christine Fréchette, because if you have on one side Christine Fréchette, who will take the votes from, there are two main factions within the CQ. There's the economy vote and there's the nationalist/identity vote. So if you have someone like Christine Fréchette on one side taking all the votes or most of the votes from the economy faction, then you have the nationalist faction left with two candidates. So the vote could be split on the nationalist side between Simon-Jolin Barrette and Bernard Drinville. And if that happens, that would be playing in favor of Christine Fréchette, in my point of view.
All right. I guess that makes sense. I was going to simply say, if you have Simon-Jolin Barrette on the nationalist side and Christine Fréchette on the economic side,
that's a totally different game.
Yeah, but then you split the difference. That has Bernard Drinville coming up the middle maybe to win.
And I think if you look at the support right now they got, and it's very preliminary so far, but Christine Fréchette has nine people supporting her within the party, so ministers and MNAs. Jolin Barrette has 7, Drinville only 2. So I think there's going to be a lot of pressure put on Drinville to push him to rally to Jolin Barrette on the nationalist side, because they don't want to see their vote being split between two candidates. So we'll have to wait and see what Drinville is going to do. But the interesting thing also, Aaron, I would point out, is that right now the CQ has only 15,000 active members. So that means that there's only 15,000 Quebecers or so. There's going to be more, of course. More people are going to sign up and take their membership cards eventually in the next 2 months, because they have until March 13th to do so if they want to be able to vote. But there's going to be like 20,000 people across the province who will be voting to select the province's new premier. So in our system,
kind of crazy,
I mean,
that's
really unusual.
All right, we leave it at that. Raph, thank you so much.
The newest tracks. Let's go. New music. And the next big thing.
Always on the new music.
music first.
Your first place to hear it all.
'Cause you gon' like it, love it, wanna play it twice. Playing now.
iHeart New Music. Your digital station for brand new drops, fresh finds, and tomorrow's bangers.
I think we need something new.
Discover iHeart New Music. Always fresh, always first. Stream now on the free iHeartRadio app.